Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we're taking a look at the Twosun TS-338 designed by Night Morning. As you can see, we've got a new setup again. I am back at school. There's been some adventures and mishaps in the past couple of weeks, but we'll get into those at other times. Let's go ahead and take a look at this very, very cool knife. But before we do, I need to thank Mike over at Sharpen Blade for loaning this in. If you're not subscribed to Sharpen Blade, what are you doing? Go subscribe to his channel. He runs a great channel. He's a super funny guy. And yeah, you'll thank me later. Go subscribe to his channel. But for now, let's go ahead and just start this review off with our blade length measurement. And it doesn't look like I've unpacked my regular ruler yet. Still getting unpacked and stuff. Not sure where I put that, but luckily I have the extra ones sent in by old Tanto guy. So thank you. Alright, so we're looking at a blade here that is, where do we want to measure from? I will measure from right there. Just a hair over 3 inches. We'll call it 3 1/4 inches. So if you live in some place that has a 3-inch legal limit, that's going to kind of suck for you, but otherwise, pretty good size. Alrighty, so let's bring out our Elementum. Whoa, we don't usually start with the Civivis. We'll get to the rats here in a second, but there are the Civivi comparisons. Cool. Let's go ahead and now we'll bring out the rats. There's the 1 and the 2. This knife is pretty short in a lot of ways, but he's quite a chonker. We'll be coming back to that. Here's our flagship comparisons. Straighten out here. And there's the bug out. And to close this off, let's compare against my favorite Twosun knife up to this point. Unless this one surpasses it. This is the Twosun TS-301. And let's compare this knife against another Buttonlock, the very popular Civivi Conspirator. Alright, good deal. So, what are we looking at here in terms of materials? We have a D2 blade with this black wash finish. It's a Buttonlock, very sturdy Buttonlock. Running on bearings, of course. Titanium bolsters, micarta, titanium clip, titanium backspacer. All kinds of good stuff. Excuse me, got the hiccups. Alright, let's go ahead and go do some cutting. Are you here to talk about knives? What about this one? So, let's go ahead and talk about the Twosun TS-338. Designed by Night Morning. Yes, Night Morning. So, pretty cool knife. Thank you again to Mike over at Sharpen Blade for not just sending this in for review, but giving it to me. You generous, awesome guy. So, clip point buoy blade, D2 steel, titanium bolsters and liners, micarta scales, titanium clip, titanium backspacer, and it's a Buttonlock. So, how's that action? It's really good. I gotta say, so right now I have it dialed where you can reverse flick it. Sometimes it will, like the screw will back out. That's a problem with Twosuns. But what I noticed was when the pivot backed out, the knife still worked. It still locked up good. It was still centered, but you couldn't reverse flick it. Like it would break your finger. However, the thumb flick
when that knife got like that was amazing. Amazing. Like, it felt like the knife had a detent, which Buttonlocks don't really, but it was amazing. As it is though, if you have it dialed in like this, works great. The thumb studs are a little bit owie, but you can take those off and put new ones on if you want. So, ergonomically, I was not sure how I would like the ergonomics of this knife. They actually work out to be pretty good. You can choke up here in this flat area. That works fine. And even back here works good. You get a little bit of pokiness off the clip, but for such a small handle, it works fine. No complaints. Let's go ahead and talk about the carry. It is a little bit of a chunker. Titanium clip, but it goes in good. I didn't have any problem carrying it at all. I thought it was really, really nice. So, Twosun's been doing a lot better with their clips lately. I like to see that. Okay, let's do some cutting, shall we? Everyone better say yes. All right, so our thick double wall cardboard. Let's go ahead and cut off. Woo! That is some thick, heavy cardboard. Cut through there just fine. Woo! Good cutting performance. D2 steel. Right now I have a 18-degree coarse edge on there. All right, let's do our pull through. Woo! Effortless. Let's do some pushes. I'm not sure how we'll do here. Okay. Not that great on the pushes, but pushing with a belly doesn't really work out that well anyways. Yeah, but it did okay. See how well the grind is done. Ooh. Okay, little bit of a hang up there at the end, as you can see, but otherwise, I mean, dang, pretty nice, thin, and consistent. I'm impressed. All right, there it is. Let's get back to the table.
What do you guys think about the backdrop? Pretty nice, huh? Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get into what I like and don't like about the Twosun TS-338. First of all, I love the way this knife looks. If you guys know anything about me, you can probably look at this knife and tell that, yeah, that's kind of Gideon style. And it is. I love the buoy blade. I love the bolster. I love the brown micarta. It's kind of like a steampunk western pocket knife in a lot of ways, and I just really love that. It's really, really cool. Great look. Just very, very classic knife. Alrighty, moving on. The action is incredible. Like, it is absolutely frictionless. Like, when I have that button pushed and I'm just letting the blade dangle, like, frictionless. We can compare that to the Civivi Cogent, which is still very smooth, but, you know, I have that button pushed down, and you can tell it's just not quite as free-floating. And, of course, that's, you know, to have solid lockup when it's deployed. This knife, rock solid lockup. Rock solid. And, yeah, just glides. So, very, very good action. We'll talk about a couple things with the action here later, but good action. Next thing, I think the ergonomics are actually pretty nice. If you're back here holding it like this, this little corner right here can kind of poke you in the palm, but it's not bad. You can still get a lot of work done like this. And then they left you this kind of, you can see there's a little bit of a scoop there in the titanium, and then this unsharpened portion of the blade. You can choke up into there. This is a really, really great grip for doing all kinds of different work. So that's good. Next thing, the blade. Not only does it look amazing, it's a good performer too. We've got a nice grind here. What is the, well, actually it doesn't matter what the thickness behind the edge is because I've sharpened this, but it's got a nice flat grind. It has a nice piercing tip, like, you know, most buoys do. Excuse my fingers, man, my hands look awful. But it's still kind of a robust tip, like I'm not scared about breaking it. Yeah, just because I'm back at school, I still, my school hands haven't come in yet. I still have my working in the woods type hands. Within about a couple of weeks, you know, with all the typing and writing and stuff, my hands will start losing all the calluses and my nails will stop being all broken and cracked and have weak hands. I'll have to get back out in the woods again and work them back up to strength. But anyways, great blade, good slicer. For a pretty short blade, you know, 3¼ inches is not long. You get a lot of sharpened edge out of that. So if you're making long cuts through cardboard or things like that, you've got a lot of edge to work with. Not the best for utility cuts. A lot of people are going to point that out. But, I mean, you can do utility cuts with the belly. It's just not as intuitive. What I really like, though, is you can get your finger all the way up here into this clip. And if you're doing a really fine task, skinning is a good example. You get it in there, and it's like your finger just grew a blade. So, pretty cool there. I like that a lot. Yeah, the jimping up here is good texture-wise. I wish it came out further, but not bad. The button is excellent. I mean, look how big, look how big that is. Really, really thick button, very strong lockup, easy to manipulate. Definitely, this is probably my favorite button lock, and that's just because it feels very robust and secure, which I'm always appreciative of. You have the typical Twosun fit and finish, which I think is great. I do like the little pivot collar here. It says Twosun knives made in Yangjiang, China, or yeah, Yangjiang, China, I think is how that's pronounced. But, you know, say what you will about Chinese-made knives. I feel like this knife is made pretty well, and I like that. Next thing, the pocket clip. Twosun has a reputation for making just the worst pocket clips on the planet. I think they've been getting better at that. This clip I would not say is amazing, but it's pretty average for milled titanium clip. I've said this before, milled titanium clips are very rarely the best option for a pocket clip. The best clips are kind of like on this Benchmade bug out. They're steel clips, kind of steel loop over clips. Those are the best clips in my opinion. But titanium pocket clips, they're very classy. They're very sturdy. I like them, and this one is a pretty average clip in that category. So, cool. Alrighty, so that's about everything I like about the knife. Let's go into my dislikes. So a lot of you may be wondering, like, oh my goodness, that was a pretty short list of likes. And it was, but I think they were all pretty good likes. And when we get into my complaints, these are things that I've kind of overcome, but we'll get into those. So first things first, these thumb studs, they are pretty aggressive. I'm not gonna lie, they're pretty aggressive. They'll chew you up if you're not careful. And I want to talk about the action, kind of jumping off the thumb studs. So right now, like, holy cow, this knife feels like it has a detent. Like, it just whacks out of there. However, I cannot reverse flick it. Like, there's just no, look, I'm gonna like rip my finger apart. This happens because the button, or not the button, the pivot backs out, which is a common issue with Twosuns, but when that does that, as you can see here, the knife is still mostly centered, might be off to this side a little bit. The action's great, the lockup is still great, but the button is exerting enough of a detent on the knife that you cannot reverse flick it. So it's an easy fix though. twist the screw a little. Oh, and by the way, all the hardware is T8, so you can throw that into the list of like-its. And it did center it up, and now, whoops, did I tighten it too much? Get in there. Let's back that off just a hair. And now you can reverse flick it. And it's still locked up rock solid. So, a little bit of a quirk. I'll be honest though, I kind of like it when the button backs out and you can only do the thumb flick because it feels so good. It's like a button lock with a detent. It's really, really fun. But, you know, if you like the fidgetiness, if you want to be able to reverse flick it, whoops. Yeah, you're going to have to adjust it. So, you know, just keep that in mind. Next thing, if you do not like the thumb studs, it is actually possible to remove the thumb studs. You just use a flathead screwdriver right here and one here maybe, and you can take them off and put a new thumb stud on. Or, I discovered, kind of funnily enough, you can actually just use the hole that the stud is on. So, yeehaw, I guess. Next complaint, I wish the pocket clip was reversible. Button locks are very friendly to, you know, lefty people, but they didn't give us a reversible clip, so that's no bueno. A lot of people are going to complain about the D2. I know a lot of people are sick and tired of D2. I'm not, you know, upset about it at this point, at this price point, at this, or with this knife in general. With this black wash, it's going to keep the rust down and stuff, so, you know, I think that's okay. One complaint I have with the blade, though, is the way they just terminated this edge. So I've sharpened this knife. Very beautiful coarse edge on here, and as you can see, I had some difficulty back here because they literally just run the edge into where the knife the blade just stops. There's no choil or anything. I might cut a choil in. We'll see. I don't think it'll hurt the lockup. Yeah, I don't think so. So you see this pin here? That's the close stop pin. It goes behind the blade, so I could probably cut in a choil. We'll see. But yeah, definitely something that I would complain about. And then the next thing is I use this knife a lot. And one of the things I used it for was this summer while I was working in the mountains. I took it to work with me a lot. And it worked great. It was the button lock that worked the best in a hard use environment for me. But I still had some issues with it, specifically during certain cuts, accidentally hitting the button, especially I was making a couple cuts like this and just, you know, disengaging the knife. I'm not the biggest fan of button locks, and I have a video coming out, I think tomorrow from the time you're watching this, so, you know, stay tuned, about EDCing button locks as part of my I EDC blank for 2 weeks series. I think you guys enjoy that series, so definitely, you know, check that video out. And I'll share, you know, more of my thoughts about button locks there, but for now, I think button locks are really fun. They're really good for just normal EDC. They're not really that great if you're doing a lot of serious cutting and stuff like that. So, serious cutting, oh, that sounds so pretentious, but, you know, whatever. You guys know what I mean. But yeah, that's about it in the complaints department from me. Let's go ahead and wrap this up with some final conclusions, shall we? So what are my thoughts on the Twosun TS-338? They're very positive. I like this knife a lot. And in fact, as I'm staring at it right now, I'm thinking of a couple things I forgot to mention. I like that they're starting to put the model numbers on their knives. I wish they'd let their I wish they'd, you know, give their knives names instead of... I actually had a conversation with Jelly Jerry, who's designed some of my favorite Twosuns, and he was telling me that he gives all of his designs names, but for some reason Twosun doesn't really like to have the names associated with knives or something. I'm guessing it's for like cataloging purposes. It's for, you know, their own inventory. They don't like to have, you know, numbers are, I guess, easier to keep track of. But anyways, I like that they're putting the numbers on the blades because it's just hard to keep up with numbers. I like that the lanyard post is in the back. You know, I like the back scissor. I like this micarta. It's not the best micarta, but it's a lot better than stuff Twosun has used in the past. Dreadnought. But overall, I love this knife. And there's things about it that I love that I'm not even sure I can say in a review. I'm not even sure I can say in a review. Gosh, I can't speak. Not because they're like bad or anything, but just because they're kind of abstract. You know, there's other things we point out, like the micro milling here on the titanium is pretty cool. I do like that. I like the, you know, bulge for the button on back here. This is probably my favorite button lock. And I don't think it's my favorite Twosun. I think this one still beats it out, but it's up there. It's a very solid feeling knife. It feels very solid. It's a great knife to carry. It's a great knife to use. Again, when I was working in the woods, it wasn't the best thing just because of the types of cutting I was doing. But for regular EDC, you know, I have no problems with button locks. The thumb studs are going to be annoying to some people. I kind of like them. So, you know, that's something that's going to be very personal to you. The ergonomics work out to be pretty good. I don't mind D2 steel. If you do, again, that's going to be something that is not great for you. But overall, I just really like this knife. I think one of the reasons it feels more solid than a lot of other button locks is because the spring is interacting with metal instead of like on this Conspirator where the spring for the plunge is just against the micarta. But I like this knife. I like this knife a lot. Can I recommend it? Yes, 100% I can recommend this. Prices on these. I have seen these go for anywhere from $75 to $145. If you can find it, I would say if you can find this for around the $100 mark, you're definitely getting a great deal. If you can find it, I first saw it for 75 bucks, like when it very first came out on Amazon, and that was a long time ago. I haven't seen it that low in a while, but let's see what White Mountain Knives carries it for, actually. I have seen it listed on Amazon for like $110 and $145 from different sellers. Don't do that. Don't do the $145. Let's see here what White Mountain Knives has it for. Let me pause this for a second. Okay, so yeah, White Mountain Knives has it for $100, $99.99. Yeah, I think that's fair for what you're getting in titanium and everything. The build quality, I don't have any problems with that price. So definitely go ahead and get one. The biggest issues that I would point out, for me, the biggest issue is the edge termination here. Everything else I can kind of live with. And yeah, I really like this knife, and it gets a recommendation from me. Thank you again to Mike over at Sharpened Blade for giving this knife to me. That was so nice of him, and I really appreciate it, bud. So, that's going to be it for this review. I sounded kind of tired in this one to me. It's because I am tired. I've been really busy lately, but I've got a new filming location up and running. I've got the lighting where I want it. I think we're going to be in good shape, guys. So, don't forget tomorrow I have my IEDC'd button locks for 2 weeks video coming out. Check that out. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe. I've been Gideon. Adios.